Live from beautiful Ohio, it's the OK Boomer podcast, featuring siblings, the real Jean and Laura.
Hello. I'm Jean.
And I'm Laura. And we are here to encourage all of you boomers, millennials, and really just everyone to be happily okay.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Should we just get started? Do we need to?
Well, let's, as they say, let's dive in.
Dive in, unpack.
Unpack this, dive in. I just love all those terms. So.
Good, then let's. So, not meaning to be judgy or criticizing, but you look a little tense, stressed,
anxious, shaking.
That grip on your coffee cup is pretty tense.
Like I'm eating chocolate nonstop because I have to. Well, Jean, I am feeling a bit stressed and tense. It was a little rougher week. It was very busy week. It probably didn't help that the other morning, it was such a lovely, beautiful, snowy Ohio morning. The OH was still sleeping. It was quite early. I haven't been able to sleep.
Oh, one of those sunny mornings, too? We had some pretty sunny, snowy.
It was just when the sun was just barely rising. And we set up a little high, and I thought this would be a lovely photo for our Instagram. Beautiful Ohio.
Yes.
I was so excited. It was kind of that early morning snow, gorgeous, beautiful red-orange ball of sun coming up through the trees. Perfect. And I said, perfect photo. I shall go outside and step on the snowy deck carefully in my bare feet, but it's worth the shot. So I happily opened up the door. Wah, wah, wah. The OH had decided the night before to put on the security system, which honestly we haven't done in a long time.
Oh, no.
And I completely forgotten. I wasn't by the door that had the big alarm box. I might have thought about it. So it's going off now. Had I just had my wits about me,
yes,
which I had none, I would have just quietly put in the code.
Yes.
I can't remember the code word beans. So I'm screaming, flailing. My poor husband is just frantically looking at me. Thankfully, he was calm, got it in. Of course, they call and check. And yes, it was just his wife who was trying to capture that shot. Never got the shot. Now the sun is up. It was all gone. There'll be another morning.
The life of an Instagram influencer.
It is. You have to have that perfect shot and it's gone. So I appreciate all you influencers.
So how did your week go from that point on, from that morning on?
Well, let me tell you, my husband must have thought that I maybe needed to calm down. So he scheduled, which was very sweet of him, all you husbands out there listening, he scheduled massages for us.
Oh,
I know.
That was thoughtful.
I do have one of the best OHs out there.
Yes.
So we get ready for the massage and we go and I'm laying there. I'm trying to relax. Even though I know I have showings right after the massage, I thought I'm just going to take this time.
Reality showing.
Real estate. Real estate has really kicked into gear. So
sure.
So I'm just trying to, and your face is in the little hole, but I've got all my makeup on because I want to look good for the showings in an hour. So I'm trying to adjust my face in the hole. You know what I'm talking about, the hole when you lay on the massage table. And trying not to press into it. So I'm maybe not in the most relaxed position. But so he comes in and he's happily chatting. And I'm just saying, well, how are you? How is life going? And he says, well, we've had kind of a warmer Ohio. I don't have my usual bumper crop of injuries. I just thought that was the funniest thing to say. Bumper crop of injuries.
I mean, I know people joke and think that we live in a farm state, which for the most part we do. And we do have bumper crops.
But apparently when he's used to a lot more business, when there's a lot of ice and snow, people fall, they all come and want massages. So you never think about that. The poor massage therapist, there are less customers and clients. When you don't have the ice, this is his peak season, like accountants around tax time.
Fascinating.
Yes. He said it'll pick up a little bit in the summer because people get outside and try to do summer activities and sports, and so it'll pick up then.
Oh, this is all ages, you think, not just boomers?
I did ask him that, and I think it's a little more boomers, but somewhat all ages. So we can relate to everyone on this one.
All right. So now you've had the stressful alarm. You've had probably a more stressful massage than
Right.
That it could have been.
Right.
Anything else?
Well, my normal chaotic life. In one of my showings, and this just kind of went along with my week, my showing the other night, and it was at night, and I parked my car because there was a showing before me, so I couldn't park in the driveway. This is another real estate showing. So I just tucked my car over as far as I could in the grass without wrecking it. And went in, the people eventually left, my client came. So we're in the house, and we're going through the whole house. And then we decided at the end, well, we'll go downstairs. And it's nighttime at this point. So we go downstairs. Now, mind you, no offense, it was a pretty creepy basement. Mm-hmm. Some basements just have that creepy, scary, awful, we could be murdered in this basement. But we kept going down, and then we thought we heard the front door.
Dum, bum, bum.
Bum. So I was like, I think someone's at the door. And she's like, do we go? What do we do? I hadn't locked it. So I went up, and then I can hear someone's kind of opening the door, and just fearing for our lives, I realized it's the local policeman. It's your friendly policeman.
Huh.
And he just said, sorry, ma'am, you got to move your car. We've had so many complaints. Everybody's been calling. I'm like, because my car is parked in the street.
An exciting night in the neighborhood.
That's right. Now, this is the suburbs, so maybe it was exciting for them. But apparently they thought it was dark. They couldn't see the car. He said it was an endangerment to vehicles on the road that they could just plow into me. But wouldn't you have your lights on? Wouldn't you see? I don't know. So anyway, it's been quite a week. No wonder I'm shaking when I'm drinking my coffee.
Well, take a sip. Take a sip. I'll tell you about. Well, I don't have much to share about.
Come on. How was your exciting week?
Well, this shows you how exciting it was.
Yes.
We stayed inside the house and did not go anywhere for 3 days.
Okay. I know sometimes you guys do stay in, but for 3 days, you never left your house?
No, it was cold. We had a little bit of snow. And hopefully by the time we're all listening to this, it'll have warmed up. So we just stayed in.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to contain my giggles. I can't imagine staying in my house for 3 days.
So my schedule was like, all right, have breakfast, go through social media, vacuum.
Laundry?
And that one I saved for day 2. That was my big excitement. Plan lunch. Read a book, work on my crossword and jigsaw puzzle, etc.
Wow.
Right.
Wow, don't overdo it.
So here I am.
And I don't mean to dwell on this or unpack all of this, but you honestly never left the house for 3 days, and you didn't feel antsy.
No, and really, Paige and I are my OH. We were a little type A, and we got along very well too.
Now that's an interesting question. Do you think you could stay in your house for 3 days and never leave it and feel fine about it? Tell.
Yes. Do other people think this is odd, or do you think that would be fine, or this would be like the worst thing?
It's the worst thing to me. In fact, sometimes if I don't have anything planned, I will just drive around or have an excuse to go somewhere to my CVS just to get out of the house.
To your CVS.
Well, I say that because my daughter works for it.
Oh, all right, good.
All right.
Well, this is going to lead in really well to our. This is just a great segue
you
to
think
our.
3 days of doing nothing is leading into something?
It is leading into something.
All right.
But before we delve into our big topic that this all leads into, we delve into that, we're going to set the stage.
Oh, yes.
And Laura, you are prepared for us a little dossier.
It is like a dossier.
All right. I'll just go for it. Go for it. With that intro, go for it.
A little bit of research, folks. Research. All right. We have talked a lot about baby boomers and millennials, which seem to be the two generations everybody talks about. Mm-hmm. But there are other generations, which you probably know their name, but we're going to do a quick little quiz. Are you ready?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're doing something. We're in the house. We're still in the house. We're not going anywhere, so you're okay. All right. From 1900 to 1924, what generation was that called?
I don't think I know. That was right at the end of that 1924 was when our dad was born.
Yes, it was right around when our parents were born.
So the grandpa generation?
Maybe it is a G. It actually has two names. It is the greatest generation.
Yes.
And it's also called the GI generation.
Oh, because they had
Yes. Do you know what GI stands for?
general infantry? No.
Close. It stands for government issues.
Oh, government.
Like a GI Bill, government issues.
Ew.
So these people today, bless your hearts out there, there's some of you, are ages 96 to 120.
That's
I don't know if
fantastic.
anyone's still living at 120. I didn't research that, but bless your heart.
That would have been the time period. Oh,
Right.
fascinating.
So
All
these
right.
are like the guys who actually were in World War II, and that's why we just really need to value and appreciate the ones that are still living. All right, ready to move on?
Yeah.
The next one. Do you
This
know
is
what?
fun.
Do you know 1925 to 1945? We're still not in this, so we're still filling.
Oh, all right. 1925 to
1945. People born.
The Depression generation.
Yes, pretty much. It was called the silent generation
Oh,
because of the Depression,
right.
because of the economy and the Depression and World War II.
And just getting over World War One.
Yes. And
Although now we're kind of looking back 100 years, aren't we? And doing a little bit of looking at the flappers and that whole time, aren't we? Like people
yeah.
for New Year's had flapper parties.
And those are fun. I actually have a flapper dress. I went to a flapper party.
Did you really?
Yes. I don't know that I'll post it. I might.
Oh, yes. Do
I
post
might.
it.
It's actually
Post
very
it.
fun. All right. So those folks are, I think I said ages 76 to 96.
So,
Perhaps I
so
didn't.
we salute them too.
We do salute
and that's
them.
more of our parents' cohort.
And I would agree, these were like all our parents. They were considered very practical and very thrifty
And that is true.
because they lived through the Great Depression.
Right.
All right, now we're
in fact, that reminds me, our mom used to always, when she opened a can, do you remember this? She would always take the label off and step on it because during World War II, they had to conserve everything and
yes.
recycle and save everything for the war effort. And that stuck with her whole
Wow,
life.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I did forget. They were very practical.
And then we come to
to us.
Yeah.
We are, of course, the OK baby boomers. We were born from 1946 to 1964. I would like to say I'm barely in this group, but I'm in this group.
yeah, but barely. Hanging on by your toes.
Right. Just barely in it. So we are the baby boomers. Of course, now we are aged 55 to 75.
Boy, it goes fast, doesn't it? Which we're going to be talking about.
We are.
It goes fast.
It does. Now, here's a few little thing about us babies. Of course, we were all the post-World War II generation.
Right.
And I like our name.
I love it.
Baby boomer. It's got good alliteration. It's fun. It's snappy.
Yes.
Okay.
That's like us.
Yes, just like us. All right. We are, no surprise, we've talked about this, we are the biggest consumers of traditional media, as in we are the ones that TV, radio, magazines, newspapers cater their advertisements to us.
Even now.
Even now, because we're still the biggest group that watches TV.
And we were, I don't know if we still are, we were the biggest group. I mean, we're going to be starting to have some of us graduate to.
Sorry, we're not the biggest group anymore.
I was wondering about that.
We're just not.
Well, we could. You did that very well. Mm-hmm.
We are trying, God love us boomers, okay boomers, we are trying as a group to adopt technology in our lives to keep up with our families.
Oh, but we don't know. That leads into, but it's not going to lead into this time our whole, should boomers be allowed to?
Yeah.
That's a conundrum for us.
Yes, and we are also the ones that use the most amount of cash to buy purchases, especially anything under $10, we use cash. A boomer or a millennial would just pay with credit card.
Right. Although I find I lose cash less and use cash less and less.
I used to be horrified if somebody at McDonald's would pay with a credit card. Now it's almost faster and easier.
It is faster and easier.
Anyway, our biggest worry? Our biggest worry as a group is saving enough for retirement because we're living longer.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think times have changed, right? And now we don't see it as the big downsizing, I don't think. Although a certain amount of downsizing, but more luxury downsizing if
Yes.
we're blessed enough. We more have that feeling of these are the times to have fun and
You betcha.
right. We
Right.
stay in our house all day, but it's a nice house.
It is a nice house.
All right.
Even if we stay
And I
it's a
am
very
blessed,
nice
saying that with the whole blessed things. All right, let's zoom through the
Okay,
rest.
I'm zooming through. The next group is Generation X,
Okay.
born between 65 and 79, ages 40 to 54. They are the biggest group at 82 million.
Mm.
Yep.
Mm.
They are, their whole lives, they're the strongest group that uses computers, actual laptops, computers.
That's wow.
Fascinating,
It is,
isn't
yeah.
it? Riveting.
Then what's next?
And they spend the most time on Facebook as a group. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. So,
Yeah.
all
So
right.
then we're up to our millennials or Generation Y. We love you guys. These are most of our baby boomers' kids,
Right.
born between 1980 and
Although some boomers could
2000.
probably have Gen Xers, right? Gen Yers.
Yeah, we could.
Right,
We just
but-
started.
all right,
Yeah.
all right. So all
Okay.
these are all our kids. These are all our future.
Right. These are all our wonderful 20 and 3. And
That we're
it's
counting on.
actually
We're
a big-
counting on to be our future.
We are. They're going
Right.
to be operating on me someday when I'm in the home. Okay.
Right,
So they're aged 25 to 39.
right.
And for some reason, they group them into Y1, Y2. I don't know that matters. 25 to 29
Okay.
and 29 to 39. I'm a very detailed person.
She's killing me.
Hi. She's putting her head on the table again.
Make her stop.
They don't do any cable, any TV as a whole. They're obviously into streaming. Their biggest concerns
Okay.
are actually they feel like they have massive student debt and that they will never be able to save money. So there you go. They all have concerns about not making enough money, will never be able to save enough. They have student debts out the wazoo. And to speed this along, in case I've lost some of you here, the last generation is Generation Z, which
So
is
we have
everyone-
XYZ.
Yeah, we do. Clever. 2000, obviously, to now. And there you go. So it's our up and coming generation. They are all the smartphone generation. They
The
do
smartphone,
everything
yes.
on smartphones. Most children in this group got smartphones by age 10.
Wow. And that used to be a big debate. I can remember talking about that on, well, probably not the playground because our kids were probably just past that, but that was a big discussion
Yes.
on should you allow your child to have their own
I know.
cell phone?
So very interesting. And
Wow.
and then I'll finally be done with this. Their biggest concern is they're turning into a more frugal generation because they've seen the millennials struggle.
So that cycle
there you
of
go.
life.
Cycle of life.
The cycle
Okay,
of life.
I'm
the
actually
circle
done.
of life.
I am
But
done.
that actually was good. And it really sets the stage so well because all of us in all these different cohorts and groups were sort of reminding me as you were going through, it was like the Bible, right?
Yes.
The begets.
All the begets. So-and-so begat
Amos
so-and-so.
beget. Moses beget. Right. So they could have had like generation wilderness.
Or generation.
David.
Oh, I love it. Generation Moses. Yes.
Yeah, yes.
I like that.
But this is all leading into, I've seen a meme a lot. And I know one of the cohorts was big, was it Gen Y, was big on Facebook. So I've seen this a lot on Facebook.
Yes.
Maybe the Gen Ys have too. Live the life you imagine.
Oh, yes.
Live the life you imagine, which sounds so profound. But then I got to, as you say, unpacking it. What does that really mean? Live the life you imagine. So are we talking about, well, Henry David Thoreau, Thoreau, do you have his
Yes, and
quote
that's
handy?
always, he's a great guy. His last name's always been a
Thoreau.
tricky one. Thoreau. I'm going with Thoreau. He wrote, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live the life you've imagined."
When he was out there by his pond
Yes.
and his mom was bringing him his food, cooked meals and doing his laundry.
That's right, somewhere in the
So
background.
all the generations are pretty much headed the same. So when he was out by his pond, did he ever imagine that live the life you've imagined would be a meme?
A big meme here in the year 2020.
But what does it really mean? So thinking back when I was a kid, what did I imagine? I can't recall having big dreams. I mean, I dreamt about Christmas. That was
Oh, that was
exciting.
always a big one, except I would sleep in and you would wake me up.
Right, that's true. I dreamed about, I don't know, I hoped I'd do well at the science fair. Or you dream about what's it going to be like to have a boyfriend. But I think for me, the road seemed pretty straightforward. I'd go to college, I'd have a job, I'd get married, I'd have kids.
But you're pretty much done.
Right, kind of like that. Remember that jump rope jingle about first comes love, then comes marriage, then
comes baby in the stroller carriage.
Something like that, yes. So that was my dream. I can recall one time of dreaming. I really, in college, wanted to major in creative writing or English. I loved that. But our folks, God love them, were practical. So they wanted us to have, or at least for me, a real job, something I could, in quotes, fall back on.
Yes. And that was a big term then. You needed to be the accountant, the lawyer, the nurse, a basic job that you could just have.
And fall back on in case something happened with your husband, because you were going to get married, and that was your fall back on. So creative writing didn't cut it. And I remember my dad was probably a little bit trying. Our dad was trying to come through for me, and he was saying, well, maybe you could get a job if you did major in that. Maybe you could get a job writing the product descriptions for the Montgomery Ward catalog. That probably wasn't quite the big dream.
No, not the life you're imagining.
So I did not go through with that major. But I kind of think nowadays, I think I would have. I mean, I think nowadays kids would stand up for themselves.
Don't you think? I think they would, and I think there's so many more majors in colleges today, and so many more options out there. And getting back to your fallback on, I never said that to my girls. I don't think baby boomers as parents say to their daughters, you need a fallback job just in case, right? Just in case you don't get married or, yeah, times have definitely changed, and for the best in that.
Now, how about your dreams? So how about you? If you're looking about your childhood dreams, what did you imagine?
And I somewhat agree. When you were in school, high school, it was just your immediate, I wanted to be head majorette, or I wanted to be first flute. Then I wanted to make sure I got to college, and I probably did think that I do want to get married and have children. Now,
which all happened,
and I'm feeling very blessed at this point. Looking back, it did all happen. Very happy with all that. I do remember being up at Lakeside, Ohio, one time, and thinking maybe I'd like to major in pre-med. And be a doctor.
That's right.
Because I liked science and chemistry. And I remember Mom and Dad so sweetly saying, but then what would you do when you have kids? You don't want to go through all that schooling, because by the time you're done with school, it'll be time to have children. And so I just majored in chemistry.
Well, you shouldn't say just. That was excellent.
Well, yes.
You majored in chemistry.
Right, but I didn't major in it thinking I want to be a doctor. I just majored in it thinking I'll get a job as a chemist. And then, truthfully, I used to kind of have dreams of that I would be the little high-powered executive wearing the snappy suit and high heels and commanding a boardroom. And clearly that was...
Well, you were sort of on your way to that. That would have been really the 80s for us, in the 1980s.
Right. That was like the 80s were sort of the time that the women wore the suits and the little...
Big shoulder pads
and the little bow ties you would get that matched all your suits. The little rosettes. I don't know if you remember that.
I do remember that. And
but I'm very happy where I ended up. So
anyway. So we're happy. Are we still dreaming, do you think? When you see that meme, live the life you imagine, what do you say about that for now?
I say for now, yes, I think you have to keep dreaming. And I've had friends tease me that I'm constantly changing careers now at this point.
Are you? So what careers do you?
Yes, I feel like I am, but I think this is the fun part about being a boomer. When you become an empty nester, because I really just devoted my life to raising children and doing all that.
But it was so much fun.
Parenting. Right, it was so much fun.
Do you remember that day you called me and it had been another one of those stressful days because your children had decided to be pioneer children?
Yes, I do.
And they were washing their clothes in the river, but the river was in your kitchen.
Yes. I do remember that.
They were so happily, it was time to do
I know.
That's so sweet.
Pioneer jobs. And those days were magical and beautiful, and I loved them.
But here we are. So
But
here you are.
So I don't have little children. I'll have grandchildren soon, but I don't have little children
So
every
you're
day.
we know you're doing real estate because we heard about that.
So I've somewhat tried different jobs, and I got into substitute teaching when my children were older, still in school at home, but older. So that fit in nicely.
That did.
Then I tried for a very short time working at our Polymer Center at the University of Akron.
Oh, that was
It was
good.
exciting, but
It
just didn't fit my life at that time. So then I tried my Wear This One app and website, which I still have.
And you may all hear more about it. It's a great
Maybe,
idea.
but
it's a great
right.
idea. Well,
And now I tried real estate. So I've been doing real estate for 3 years, which is long for me, by the way.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is an interesting time of life to just try things. Why not?
I seem to have a 3-year time period too. That initial
tell.
enthusiasm and you're
Yes.
excited. So I agree with that. One thing here's a dream I have.
Please
Here's
tell
a dream
me.
I have while I'm relaxing in my recliner. I dream I'm finally going to do the holidays, get them down right.
Oh, shit.
Our family holidays have not. Yes, they've had moments of joy and moments of things are great, but they're still not my dream Norman Rockwell.
Yes, the absolute perfect.
I want
beautiful-
to try for that. That is my goal.
That's a good goal.
Let's try for that.
I know, and I even have dishes, Christmas dishes, that I guess part of my dream would be to actually use them. So there you go.
So that will be our
work
dream.
on that. We got
Let's
months to
close
think
with
about
one
it.
Bible verse, which is from Jeremiah. I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. So we can dream, but God's in charge.
And that, I'm so glad you brought that Bible verse up, Jean, because exactly, we can dream and
We should dream. That's part of being human.
We should dream, and I think hopes and dreams and looking forward to things is what makes life just so wonderful and special. But God is still in charge. He is always in charge, and we just need to greet every day.
And that's a positive. That doesn't mean he's in charge and he's going to rule against us or say, no, don't do that. It means he's in charge. He's got the big picture going.
Yeah.
So we can have, he really is our Father who's planned a great life, and we can create our masterpiece
Exactly.
in the context of him being in charge. So,
Okay,
Boomer.
Boomer. Lots of fist pumping.
Laura, I truly enjoyed this topic. These are really the things I like to delve into and think about. So I wish we could keep going.
I do too, and perhaps we can on future episodes. And what do you think out there? We would love to hear your thoughts on, are you feeling like you're living the life you imagined? So contact us if you would. Feel free to email us at contact@okboomerpod.com. Remember, if you email us, you get my strawberry pretzel salad recipe. Or you can go to Twitter at OK_boomerpod. Or on Instagram at OK_boomerpod. And you can always look at our website, which is okboomerpod.com. And at this time, we always like to thank our Pat from speakuptalkradio.com. She is just wonderful. Shout out to Pat for putting these all together for us.
Thanks for joining our fun. I'm Jean, right here with Laura.
I'm Laura.
And we say goodbye and
Toodaloo from beautiful Ohio.
Be sure to come back to beautiful Ohio and the OK Boomer podcast. To listen to previous episodes or to drop us a line, visit okboomerpod.com.